Good afternoon and welcome to Biztech Asian Midday Marketwatch. Our guest today is Halley, Senior Market Analyst, Asia Pacific at OANDA. Now, Jeff, as always, great to have you on the show.
Always a pleasure, mate. Great to be here.
How was your holiday?
Excellent. The joys of living in a huge country. Domestic travel feels like overseas travel, but Sumba Island, a magical place, and I can highly recommend it to all our viewers once they get the chance to come back here.
Now, before we get your insights, we're going to take a look at how crypto markets are performing and then regional stock markets. We're going to start with Bitcoin. It's at 56,961. It's down 0.76%. Ethereum is at 4,175.23. It's up 0.52%. Moving across to regional markets, and we will start first with the SGX. It's at 3,233.05. It's down 0.12%. The KLSC is at 1,587. It is, just give me a second. It is down 0.26%. The Shanghai market is at 3,595.61. It is up 0.38%. The ASX is at 7,742.4. It's up 0.7%. The Nikkei is at 29,774.11. It is up 0.09%. The Hang Seng is at 24,672.12. It is down 1.12%. Rounding up the numbers, we've got the Kospi, which is at 2,995.45. It's down 0.59%. So, Jeff, what's your view on market performance this morning?
Yeah, well, it's very much mirroring the performance on Wall Street. Now, after Jerome Powell was renominated as the Fed chairman by President Biden overnight, we saw the Fed taper trade come back to the fore again. US yields, long-dated yields rose sharply, the dollar rose, and that mostly impacted on technology stocks, which are much more rate sensitive than other sectors because of their extremely high valuations. Now, when we look across Asia today, we can see South Korea, we can see Taipei, Hong Kong, where all the big China tech companies are listed. They have all performed the worst in the region. Whereas overnight we saw banking stocks, materials, resources hold their own because in a higher rate environment, banks, for example, usually make money. And we also saw a rally in commodities overnight. So we're seeing Australian markets outperforming today because their makeup is much the same. And across ASEAN, although those markets are mostly a little bit lower, they're also holding their own, which is in line with how the Dow Jones finished overnight, which was unchanged.
Now, Jeff, let's go take a quick look at Chinese stocks and just to echo what you've actually talked about, it's absolutely a sea of red. They're all in negative territory. But Jeff, I want to ask you about the nomination or reappointment of Jerome Powell as Fed chair and Lael Brainard as vice chair. What's your read on this, and how is that going to impact us overall moving forward?
Well, I guess consistency was the key here, and Jerome Powell's really done nothing particularly wrong that warrants a changing of the guard. Markets were probably more nervous about Lael Brainard because she is very much in the dovish camp, and although that might have been good for stocks initially, there would have been concerns there that inflation might have run hotter than what it is already. What's happened is the markets have really been in a holding pattern waiting for this nomination to be confirmed. And what we've seen overnight is the markets very quickly pricing in a much sooner than expected hiking of rates by the mid-year by the Fed, and also a faster tapering schedule as well. That means US rates have moved higher. I think if this continues into the year end, we're going to see rate-sensitive markets such as technology, but also Asian markets as well, where they've been fairly immune to dollar strength thus far. I think they could also suffer. I think overall we're going to see a lot more two-way price volatility in stock markets into the end of the year. But as yet, I'm not picking a top in the stock market.
And how about taking a quick look at China, Jeff, because there's a lot of chatter that the PBOC will slip in a rate cut in December. What's your view on this?
Well, they left the LPR, the loan prime rates, unchanged yesterday. The most likely outcome, and there is a lot of chatter about this today, is that they will cut the triple R rate, which is the amount of reserves that banks have to hold on their balance sheets against bad loans. If they have to hold less reserves, the process follows. They have more money to lend, which is positive for economic growth. I think this is actually more than likely going to happen in China in December. That should be positive for stocks on the periphery, but bear in mind that they are also being weighed down by price action overseas, but also the shared prosperity policies, which I think will continue to impact the valuation of Chinese equities into 2022.
Jeff, it's a very short week. It's Thanksgiving long weekend in the US. What are key events and data points that you're looking at this week that could move markets?
Well, before the culling of the turkeys occurs on Thursday, we do actually have a fairly light data calendar around the world. We've got an RBNZ rate decision tomorrow. That's probably only going to be 0.25% now, so the Kiwi should remain under pressure. The Bank of Korea also announces its latest policy decision on Thursday, and the Korean won's actually been stronger than most Asian currencies today, and I think that is because markets are holding there to see whether the BOK raises interest rates by either 0.15 or 0.25%. We have US durable goods tomorrow, and Purchasing Manager Index is out across Europe and the US tonight. But overall, it's a fairly light data calendar. I think the key here will be, will those increases, those rises in long-dated US yields that we saw happen overnight on the taper tantrum trade, whether they are sustained or whether it's a false dawn and they start moving lower again. If they stay high, we're probably going to see equities remain under pressure this week, and we're going to see a stronger US dollar.
Jeff, as always, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Always a pleasure, Brian. Thank you.
Now, we've been speaking to Jeffrey Halley, Senior Market Analyst, Asia Pacific at OANDA on Biztech's Asian Midday Marketwatch. I'm Brian Fernandez. This video will be on our various social media platforms as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thanks a lot for tuning in.